Welcome to Leighton's Loft. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you are as excited for the National Sports Collectors Convention as Lou and I am.
Yes. We're just stretching technology today. We're doing phones, we're doing different sites, we're all over the place.
Yeah, no, it's been a very interesting day, myself included. What's up, Kev? I was last night in New York City for my buddies at Bleecker Trading. Check them out on Instagram.
Yeah. I saw the post,
for a trade night. What's really great is, Lou, no matter what, if you don't buy anything, you don't trade anything, you can guarantee you're going to get some good New York pizza, free food, free apps, if you will. And there were some cool giveaways and such. In general, I think that, the buzz for the National was very strong. People were kind of making their last minute moves if they could to either find a car they really wanted, or more I saw, hey, are you interested in trading or buying, some things that I don't really necessarily need. And if I don't have it for the National next week, no biggie. What's up, Bill? What's going on, Jeff? Thanks for joining us, Jim.
Cody's here on time today. I don't know what's going on.
What's up, Tom? What's going on, Cody?
It's be a light mail day.
Yeah. So appreciate everyone joining us. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to Leighton's Loft on Facebook. That way you'll get notified each and every time I go live. For those of you that are new, we go live every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Hey, what's up, Chris? Today's a good one. We have hopefully a couple good guests, lots to talk about, and because I know everyone, of course, loves giveaways, we have a very nice giveaway today. We have 7 giveaways that we're going to give away at the end of the show. And the only way to have a chance at winning one of those is to participate and say hi, tell us what's going on. Let us know if you've bought anything recently or traded for something in the chat on Leighton's Loft Facebook page. So without further ado, courtesy of Vintage Breaks, we're going to be giving away for first place a $100 credit to the Vintage Breaks site that, Lou, if you win it, you should send it before next Sunday, August 1st at 4 o'clock.
Oh, double dip?
Yep, yeah. Little double dippage. I love that you know the terminology. So you'll be able to be not only getting a free $100 worth of any breaks that you'd like on our website at vintagebreaks.com, but you'll also be, as Lou just said, double dipping into several bonuses, of which they conclude on Sunday, August 1st, live from the National Sports Collectors Convention, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. But we'll be going live, of course, all week starting Monday of next week. If you haven't had enough of us yet, then hopefully next week you'll get your fill. It's going to be a fantastic time. Really looking forward to hopefully, not just doing business and stuff, but meeting a lot of you folks in person. And for those of you that, of course, are able to make it from the Vintage Breaks community, courtesy of Vintage Breaks and Bleecker Trading, there's going to have some friends there as well. We're doing the Friday night. You'll be missed, Lou. It's, dare I say, you can drink whatever you'd like. You can eat whatever you'd like. You can be merry as much as you'd like.
I'll save some for next year at Atlantic City, and I'll be there for that.
I'll tell you, there's a little line item we saved for next year to make sure this does not, because it's like, Lou, for me, I'm like, hey, man, I don't take anything for granted. Let's just blow it out. Let's blow like the next 3 years of budget. But I hear you loud and clear. Obviously, my family resides in New Jersey. I'd like some of them to attend next year. So we got to have a little of the budget left. That's awesome, Tyler. Well, I appreciate you bringing it up. What's up, Lucas? So as Tyler just brought up, Lou, part of the reason why we break from the National, of course, is, we like signing autographs for people. And, J5 likes being famous. And as my wife likes to call me, a D-list or C-list, whatever she calls me, celebrity, we certainly enjoy all of that. But all kidding aside, what's really cool is that we're able to take our regular broadcast, do nothing different other than, like, we're changing the setting, Lou.
Right.
Transplanting us into the greatest sports card show of the year. And you're basically like part of the action. So you could wake up and join us at 9:30 in the morning. You could say, I actually have to work today because I have a real job, and join us after work at 6:30. And you bet your bottom dollar that if we're allowed to break we will be breaking.
But a break has got a break, right?
Yep. So first place, once again, it's courtesy of Vintage Breaks, $100 break credit. And if you haven't already, please reach out to us and let us know if you're going to be making our Friday night thank you dinner and drinks trade night affair, courtesy of Vintage Breaks, Just Collect, and Bleecker Trading. It's going to be a blast. That'll be 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock at the Hyatt, directly across the street from the National. What's up, Bri? Hopefully you're going to be at the National. We get to meet. What's going on, Sir Charles? Can't wait to see you next week. Haven't seen Charles in a while. I mean, I see him on screen every week, but it's going to be good to see him in person, along with many other folks. So anyway, without further ado, 2nd through 7th place. 2nd place is a 1951 Bowman football set break spot. 3rd place is a 1970 Topps baseball set break spot. And then the last 4 prizes, Lou, are a spot in our Breakomaniacs appreciation promo. And there's not just a chance at, I think, a bunch of break credit, but we've given away a few prizes this time, not just one. So check it out. This will be your only way to get in. I mean, you can earn your way in by getting spots through trivia and winning spots, but you can't buy any spots into the Breakomaniacs appreciation promo. That also concludes next Sunday, 4 o'clock Eastern time, live from the National. So that day, Lou, we'll give away well north of $25,000 worth of vintage cards. I just realized saying that out loud. I'm not sure that that's advisable for next year. So take advantage while you can now.
Yep.
It's going to be great. Really looking forward to it. So I want to tell everyone about my journey into the city. And Lou, I don't know, have you confirmed, is Ryan Steele able to join us today?
Before we go over, Ryan is here. I'm not sure about Rich. Okay. I just want to, I got to get this conversation done because I've asked several people. Are we doing a Loft from the National next week?
Oh, we have to.
Yeah, I think we do.
It's just a matter of, is it going to be 30 minutes or an hour? I got to talk to the team, but we're definitely going to be doing it. I'm hoping to have a cool few guests as well. But as long as basically, Lou, you're available, I'm certainly available because I'll be there.
I can't be there, so I want to do a Loft from the convention floor. I want to be there that way.
That's great. Well, then you heard it here, folks. First, there'll be a Loft starting next week, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, like usual. It may be 30 minutes only because of the National and what we have going on, but I'll let everyone know the next few days. Appreciate you bringing it up, Lou.
Yep. Well, I want to get it done. I want to make sure we're doing something from the National here on the Loft.
So I was going to post something on social media. I realize I won't be able to now because we're going to talk about it. But I was going to do something like, hey, Leighton yesterday, in the last 24 hours, did something in New York City that he just spent the most money on, more than any other time before. And of course, my wife is not here. And, you could maybe misread that, Lou. So we decided to move in a different direction, just to kind of go straight for the bullseye. So Lou was very nice and said, hey, you paid me a compliment. Really nice haircut. I thought so myself. Thing is, I'm really glad it was a nice haircut. So I go in yesterday, and I wasn't sure if I was going to reveal the cost, but I figured, fuck it, right? Yep. It's the Loft. This is part of what makes, me tick and what I just enjoy, living life. So, Lou, I am certainly still behind in some areas of getting ready for the National, but in other parts, like I ordered clothes on the internet, man. I don't ever order clothes. Like I'm trying to make things happen.
This is going to be painful for me, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
My girlfriend bought me a pair of jeans about a month ago that were $100. I've never spent $100 on a pair of jeans in my life. It was painful, absolutely painful.
The thing is that consider that no matter what, at least you still have the jeans.
Yeah, that's true.
So I was staying in the city because Julie and Crosby are away on a little vacation, visiting some friends and such. So they'll be back on Friday. Looking forward to it. But I ended up not only having trade night last night in the city, but I had a few meetings this morning. So it made sense to stay over. So after finding a hotel room that did make me want to throw up at the cost, it was a pretty reasonable price and hotel, staying in the Village because the place is on Christopher Street. So Lou, I had been badly in need of a haircut, and I simply put in best salon near me, right? And so I'm like, wow, this place seems like it could be really close. And I had a little time in between, happened to hop over to see Josh, my first appointment, and Ken. What's up, Mark? Who came from our office, the Pokemon professor, as you know him. And so I dove in and I said, hi, I start very, politely, because you never know, Lou. They don't like the way you look, smell. Who knows? Like, no soup for you. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, do you have time? I don't even ask the cost. I just say, do you have time for a men's haircut? And she said, well, we only have one person available at the moment. And I'm thinking, like, well, that didn't really answer my question, but I'll wait for you to take the time to answer, because I have nowhere else to go. I can't walk around the city. I don't have enough time. And listen, I don't have, I got to protect this as an asset. So I don't want to just go to like Supercuts. No offense to those who go to Supercuts, but I'm trying to preserve my lockets.
Gotcha.
So I have no idea, by the way, if this does preserve it. This is just what I believe in my head. And to be honest, if you believe it and it makes you feel good, I just say go for it if it's not toxic. So, Lou, I said, excuse me, that's wonderful. You can fit me in. Very excited. I mean, the place is very nice, Lou, I have to say. I said, just out of curiosity, like, how much is a haircut?
If you got to ask.
Because the thing is, it was a little uncomfortable. I didn't see any prices anywhere.
Yep.
And before I tell everyone, I don't want you to judge, even though I realize that you just may, and it's just human nature, and so I'm not upset. But keep in mind that I value my time, and I'm not trying to sound, anything else other than straightforward. But, I have a limited time, certainly from now to the National. And I don't want to find myself at the airport next week not having had a haircut.
Yep.
So,
plus, you don't want to have it right before, because you never know what you're going to get. So you want to have it a few days before. Right?
That's what I know about my hair. Charles, you're right. J5. I actually learned all these tips from J5. I didn't used to take my hair. I didn't used to take my hair seriously or not. Cody, you obviously haven't been in New York City.
I'm going over.
You can't even get pistachios for $45 in New York City. Yeah, Lou, come on. He gave everyone an underhanded pitch there.
I'm taking the alternate point dollar cost too and going over. I'm going over whatever you put up here, actually.
So here's the deal. She says it out loud, and I say, I'm sorry, excuse me. I just wanted to double check. Like, does that come with lunch? Or like any apps? Or like, I'm not trying to be funny. Does it come with additional services that you're not really able to eloquently tell me about? I have no idea. I was just a little bit confused. Confused.
You're more together than I am, because it would have blurted out before I could stop it. I would say, what, do you do the haircut on my lap? How does this work?
No. Well, first put it this way. This place would have bent you right back into shape.
Yep.
Because if you talk like that, they have a bouncer in the back, like I have no doubt.
They had I was going to say, you saw a bouncer in a haircut?
Well, I didn't, but I'm just saying this place is very nice, right? So I'm like, wait a minute. So basically the over-under is 3 digits.
Yep.
3 digits, okay?
Well, we're settling in around $200 right now.
I see where people are guessing.
Yep.
So basically she tells me that it's $150.
Oh.
And I said, I'm going to be honest, I can afford $150. I don't want to sound like a big shot. But it was so much fucking money that I'm like, wait a minute. Am I really not going to have any time to get a haircut at a place that I may feel comfortable with from now till whenever? And the issue for me, Lou, was I don't often have a lot of time. And like, I didn't want to just cram it in, So I said to her, hey, if you're ready to go, I'm willing to take a shot at it. But I was very I was honest, but like not so straightforward. I said, I'm going to go for it. I said, I just want you to know this is a lovely place. This is the most money I've ever spent on a haircut. But I said, I'm a little tight. And the woman who gave me a haircut, I thought it was great. She was very down to earth. She appreciated some of my humor. She's going to check her baseball card, she told me. And she even said at the end, I can't make this shit up. She goes, would you like me to trim your eyebrows? And I said, is that included for the $1.50?
Good question.
Because like, I don't want to, be upsold. Like one time Julie took me out to a really fancy restaurant in New York City for my birthday. It was Italian. It was fantastic. And we didn't know anything about truffles. So they come over and they go, would you like truffles? And my wife, being the saint that she is, sure, we love truffles. Meanwhile, I don't really care.
Yep.
And they're shaving them. They're shaving truffles like, they're making a ham and cheese.
Yeah.
Great. So
Yep.
we get the bill, and my wife did not look well. I'm like, honey, what's wrong? She's like, just take a guess how much the truffles were.
Oh, no.
I'm like, I'll just have another drink. So let's just say the truffle.
Melch is asking the question that's been in my head for the last 30 seconds. How much did you tip?
I'm going to finish up the story.
Okay. All right. Excellent.
So first of all, I want to be clear. The truffles were definitely more expensive than my haircut.
Oh my God. Really?
Yeah. So here's the deal. I hope I didn't untip, because I think I usually tip pretty well when I get a haircut.
Yeah.
I gave $20 to the woman who cut my hair. The haircut itself cost $1.64 with tax. And I gave $5 to the woman who washed my hair.
Oh my God.
So do the math. I don't know. It's bordering $200. Okay,
could you go on the Supercuts and got a haircut and still had truffles with that same amount of money? No, still that wouldn't have worked. Not truffles for one?
No.
Oh my God.
It was very bad. It was very bad. So anyway, here's the deal. Don't be afraid to ask, right? If you go up to the National and there's no price on an item and you think it's expensive, it probably is. Not to say it's not worth it or you can't buy it. Here's the thing. I know I overpaid. I realized that I didn't have a ton of time. I am very happy with the haircut. And if I had the name of the place, I'd give them a shout out because they were wonderful. And let's be honest, right? Like, that's the kind of business that got crushed for a while during COVID. We were talking, she was asking about my business and our businesses. And, I said we were very fortunate. And so, the whole thing kind of just worked. But I have to say, I'm not proud of it. Like, I don't know that you can regularly go for a $150 haircut and tell people, no matter how much money you have.
Don't you think that there are things, I have this thought all the time, that even if I had money, I would not spend that much on that. Oh, lost Leighton. Oh, there he's back.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Even if I had money, I would not spend that kind of money on that kind of thing.
Lou, that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a lot of money, but I have enough that I can afford to expend that if I had to. I felt very uncomfortable.
That was extremely Seinfeld-esque, the way you brought it around to the National, though. I'm proud of you. That was excellent.
Thank you very much. So that is the first story for today. I actually have so much to talk about that I have notes here. So let's talk about trade night. So anyway,
we got Ryan here. You want to get Ryan in case Rich goes up?
Absolutely.
All right. Hi, Ryan. How are you?
Hey, guys.
Hey, Ryan. How's it going?
I'm good. I'm traveling, so I apologize for any background noise. I was down in Houston last night, and I took some clients out to an Astros game. And the funny story about that night is, one, Yordan Alvarez is huge. He's like 6'5", and to see him up close in person, he's a specimen.
He's a beast.
The second funny story is, so we went out to a nice steak dinner before, Vic and Anthony's, the same place that owns Mastros, and it was really funny. We had some adult beverages, and I actually had to go use the restroom. So Altuve comes up, I use the restroom, he hits a bomb. First inning. Third inning, he comes up, I use the restroom again, he hits another bomb. So then everybody in our section starts yelling the next time he's at bat for me to get up and run to the bathroom. And he hit one of the warning tracks. So it was actually pretty funny. So, yeah.
That's cool. What are you doing out in Houston? You there for work?
Yeah. I was there for work, taking out some clients. I work for a big technology company called Salesforce. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a large company. Yeah.
We utilize Salesforce for Just Collect.
Yep. So I work for them. And I have accounts all over the country, so I had to go down to Houston and got to go see a ball game while I was there.
That's fantastic. Now, do you travel every week for work or just on occasion?
It actually just opened up. So Salesforce, we were doing a work from home. You don't have to come to the office, and then we just started opening up travel to get with the right titles and get with the right folks, you can go see your customers now. So just like the last few weeks, we just started open up for travel. So I will be doing a lot more travel now that's kind of open up.
That's great. Are you going to be able to make the national next week?
So two things. I can't, unfortunately. One, it's my wife's birthday that weekend. And
Happy
two,
birthday, Mrs. Steele.
Yeah, and two, we're moving. So to have her move on her birthday is probably not the most joyful thing.
By herself?
Yeah,
but what I would say
exactly.
is if you make her do that, I'm not sure where you reside, but if you reside in New York, you can consult my wife's law firm. They'll be happy to help you with a divorce.
Divorce, for sure. We'll head down that road. No, we're in Minnesota. We're moving down to Phoenix. So I'll be Charlie G's neighbor coming up.
Get out of here. That's fantastic.
Oh, geez, Minnesota, Phoenix, you'll hardly know the difference.
Yes.
Same place.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's
excited,
great. Well, congratulations. Yeah.
Unfortunately, can't make it, but I'm glad to be on and love what you guys do. First and foremost, it's awesome, and love the community and what you've built. And I message Sam and J5 and those guys all the time, and I've never been part of a community like this, and it's just amazing to get to know people, even if it's virtually. You get to know people and that share the same passion for cards that I do. So just really appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, listen, first of all, it's our pleasure because it's folks like you, Ryan, and honestly, like Lou and Sam and J5 that make up like the core of our community that allow us to flourish. And I don't mean financially, like the way you're saying, feeling comfortable. I described Vintage Breaks recently to people as we're basically Cheers, but for baseball cards.
That's
right. Exactly.
Because really, everyone kind of does know your name. Obviously, baseball cards takes the place of the alcohol. But yet, you actually don't need to drink or you don't need to consume, meaning you don't need to buy into breaks to really enjoy yourself. And so,
wait a second, you guys are omitting the alcohol because I wasn't in on that memo.
glad we caught ourselves.
Great, thanks.
But in all seriousness, Ryan, thank you very much for not only just hopping on today, but of course being part of the community. So I was gonna, have a few special announcements over the next 10 days, and I realized that you, just based on what you're saying, you're not going to be able to make the national. And like I said, congrats on the big move and happy birthday to Mrs. Steele. But we're very cognizant of the fact that some people still aren't necessarily either A, able to travel yet or comfortable, B, timing-wise, because they like being married or being with their significant other, they can't make the national. And so provided that C, the world continues to move, albeit slowly, in a direction of opening up, not even the staff at Vintage Breaks and J5 and Just Collect knows this yet, but we're going to be having an open house this fall in the Just Collect offices. Obviously not everyone will be able to make that, Ryan, but we figured that there's a fair amount of people who can't make Chicago who will definitely come next year to Atlantic City for the National. Mm-hmm. But honestly, that's 13 months away. So what we're thinking of is we're going to have like a big event end that, let's say that weekend, and then we're going to have an open house several days for Just Collect, for Vintage Breaks, and then have it all culminate in a big event ending that weekend sometime this fall. Fingers crossed it all goes well with COVID and such.
I love it. And it's funny you bring that up, Leighton. My wife was actually saying, you need to go out there to New Jersey and see those guys.
It's great.
Same wavelength right here. That's awesome. I'll definitely come out and see you guys.
That's great. And, to be fair, like, even though there'll be, let's say, pluses and minuses for having the open house and not having it be at the National, the one thing is we can control our environment, whereas at the National, you really have to, you can only do certain things or have certain hours or whatever the case may be. So, of course, it will be a lot of work for the staff, which is why I wanted to hold off till after the National because we already have a lot of work ahead of us. But I am really excited. And honestly, Ryan, whether it be yourself and others that I talk to over the next week, I think there's a number of people who are going to be, A, not able to make the National this year, but B, be very appreciative of, even if they can't make it, in the back of their mind of like, because somebody how it is, hey, come hang out with Just Collect and Vintage Breaks, and then go to New York City. It's 45 minutes an hour from our office. Like, spend a night there. So that way your wife or significant other is okay either A, with you going, and you were kind of to offer them to come along for the ride. Because New York City's fantastic, so that's kind of my thinking. I'm glad that you like it.
She's actually won some break credit, so I might have to bring her along.
Very cool. Well, I realize I don't know if Rich is going to be able to join us today, and I would like to chat offline, Ryan. So I'm going to get your contact info from Sam.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, please
I'd love to connect and learn more about what you're doing in the tech space for Salesforce, and talk more about, of course, the Vintage Breaks community and such. But originally I was going to give this to you, but I think smart money tells me I'm going to give it to Mrs. Steele in honor of her birthday, and then you can spend it if she gives it to you. But we're going to give you a $100 break credit. Sam always tells me you're super generous in helping to close out breaks, specifically, which is obviously wonderful for the community. So I'm going to give your wife a $100 break credit.
Thank you.
For her birthday to spend any which way she would like. And if she'd like to, gift that to you, she can of course do that. But that's for her to decide.
We appreciate that, and she's actually watching, so she'll be thrilled to join a set break. She loves when I get called by J5 during a set break because it means I hit a monster card.
I wish that J5 would call me like that as well. But usually if he tells me to sit down, it's either we have a find of the century and he doesn't know if we're going to get it and he's nervous, or it's something bad. So, I always just like to have, any difficult news first. That being said, happy birthday to, your lovely wife, and really appreciate, like I said, you being part of the community. And not just active with your dollars, Ryan. Let's be honest, right? Anyone could be active just dollars and cents. But, being active in the community's well-being, seeing breaks close, sharing your wealth of knowledge or experiences is very beneficial to us and much appreciated. So thank you.
Yeah, no, greatly appreciated. You guys are the best in the business. And I told Sam this the other day. There's no other break site that offers the value that you guys do, from promotions and just giving back to the community. Nobody else does it like you guys. So really appreciate it.
So do we. We appreciate the kind words. And hopefully we'll connect soon offline, Ryan.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Take it easy. Be well.
Good to meet you, Ryan. All right, so what I need to know is, Leighton, does J5 have to call you if he's spending more of your money than your haircut or than truffles?
No, he can afford to spend the truffles without my consent. He doesn't need that.
He can go up to truffles. Okay, excellent.
Yeah, he can. But I would say this: the truffles were almost 4 digits, man.
Get out! No way.
Like I'll confirm with Julie, but they were hundreds. They might have been. It might have been worse. It might have been 600. Because you gotta understand, they were there shaving it like Parmesan cheese. We were like, hey,
again,
more.
If I had Bezos money, I wouldn't be spending that kind of money on
That's
food.
what I'm saying. I wouldn't. Now, to be fair, what's a really funny question? Are you more uncomfortable spending $1.50 on a regular haircut, or a once in a blue moon $400 truffle experience? And I gotta be honest, I don't love truffles. I don't even really like them. So I'm gonna go with truffles because I don't need $400 truffles.
I don't know. I've spent $250 on champagne.
Oh, well, that's. I mean, listen, everyone has their
thing, right? Yeah.
I would say, if I hadn't had a haircut in 9 months, I don't think $150 sounds bad. That's what I was trying to tell the woman yesterday, because you get a lot of value. And she's like, well, how long is it since you've had the last haircut? It looks kind of long. I said 5-6 weeks. And she literally, if she was drinking something, it would have come out of her nose.
Yeah.
Right. But we had a good time.
Here. You want to talk to Rich?
Right. Absolutely.
Hi, Rich. How you doing?
Guys, I can hear you over the speakers, but I can't hear you too well in my
all right,
my earbuds here, so I hope this works.
That little gear down the bottom of your screen?
What's that?
The little gear icon on the bottom of your screen? That
yeah.
Mike, hit on that.
What's that?
Hit on that. Go to audio.
Yep.
And on speaker, select your headphones.
Yeah, that's what I did, but it's still not.
It's still not working? Okay.
I can hear you okay if
okay, great. All right.
Yeah, no, we can hear you great.
All right. The heck with those earbuds.
There you go.
I'm budless.
Thank you for joining us, Rich Miller from Sports Collectors Daily. I've known you a long time, but you're a long time first time today, my friend.
I am happy to be in the loft. I'm getting a little bit of, I'm just kind of woozy up here. It's so tall. I can't, I'm trying to get into the loft. What's the elevation in the loft here? Is it?
Well, it's Jersey, so it's not too high.
It's not too high. Colorado could be a problem. So first off, thank you again for joining us, and absolutely fear the deer. Tell us where you're from, even though I already know. And congratulations to the Milwaukee Bucks.
Got the shirt on right here. There it is.
Oh, love it. Fear the deer, baby.
Had to represent today. Yeah, no, grew up in Wisconsin, big Bucks fan, and old enough, unfortunately, to remember the first time 50 years ago when they won it. So I was a little kid, but I do remember Kareem and Oscar and Johnny Mack and Greg Smith and Bob Boozer and all those guys too. So, it's pretty surreal to see them actually get to that point. I thought it would never come.
Unbelievable series.
It was, yeah, to fall down twice, 2-0, and then come back. It's amazing. And
96 Yankees.
Yeah. It's a great run, and it's done so much for the city. You can just feel that they've won championships before. The Milwaukee Braves won in '57, but nothing at home. Since I think the Packers in 1939, which actually they're in Green Bay, but for the city to actually be able to celebrate at home a championship like that is unbelievable. And Giannis went through the Chick-fil-A drive-through at 10 o'clock this morning. I don't know if you've seen that clip or not, but it's if you have a chance, look up Giannis Chick-fil-A today. He went through the drive-through with both trophies in his lap today and ordered a 50-piece.
Oh my God!
50-piece Chick-fil-A nugget package. So it's pretty great.
I mean, yes, he could probably down that because I've ordered a 30-piece for me and Kraz, and he's had like 4 or 5. And I'm like, Julie, did you have any? She's like, no. I'm like, well, how are they all gone? She's like, looking at me. I'm like, oh shit.
Well, what would that have been, Leighton? About 50 sandwiches for your haircut, right?
Rich, I had a haircut experience with the age yesterday. It was crazy.
See, it looks like they took a little extra off there for you.
They did. They also took a little extra out of the wallet. Yeah. We'll talk about the national, though. So anyway, Rich, why don't you tell everyone where you're from and a little bit about yourself and the site?
Well, I'm kind of from all over. I grew up in Wisconsin, but I spent years and years as a sports anchor and reporter, different television stations all over the country. Lived on the West Coast for a while, moved back to the Midwest with my wife back in 97, I guess it was, and we've been here ever since. I launched this website, and you're looking at the Facebook page here on the screen, but I launched it back in 2006 while I was still working in the mainstream media, and just kind of thought there was a need for a daily website in the hobby that had news of all kinds. And it took a couple of years, but we got some traction, and it's really taken off, obviously, in the last few years, kind of become the go-to site, I guess, for a lot of people. And when they want to find out what's going on in the hobby, and, I've been writing so long for so long that we've got now, I think it's over 16,000 different stories in our archives. It's all free. There's no subscription fee or anything. You can log on anytime, day or night. You can sign up to get the headlines in your email, no charge for that. So we've kept it all free. It's advertising supported. And so it's been a labor of love with an emphasis on the labor, but nonetheless pretty rewarding. And I'm really appreciative of everybody that's managed to find us at one point or another over these 15 years. And we just celebrated the 15th anniversary last month. So pretty great to still be doing this and have people come every day and get something out of it. I'm very grateful.
Rich, it's amazing I remember discussing with you before you transitioned from your full-time job to full-time sports sector daily. Yeah. That's how long I've known you.
Yeah. Yeah, we go back a ways. It was I don't know how I did it, honestly. I had probably more energy back then than I do these days, but it was a lot of late nights. There were a lot of 2 a.m. stories that were written, probably showed in some of the spelling and stuff, but no, I didn't watch a lot of TV in those years, and still don't really. But it was a busy time. Let's see, 9 years I did it that way.
Well, I would say you still work your butt off. You still work really hard. I know it for a fact, but I also think that the general public knows it because they can see the site and they see your efforts.
Well, thanks. And I've had the benefit of having, especially in recent years, we've brought on some really good contributors, some writers that have really pushed the content out further, I think, than we ever have been before, with different feature stories and things that we've covered. And there isn't much that we haven't covered over the years. Everything from fraud in the hobby to feature stories that we'll have tomorrow on the 1990-91 score hockey set. I mean, it's everything and anything and everything. And we tried to make sure that anybody who comes to the site, no matter what they collect, can find something to read. And if you want to read all 15,000 stories, I'd advise maybe grabbing a couple of cans of Red Bull and 5-hour energy and sitting back and taking that in. But I've made the commitment when we started this to do 4 fresh stories every day. I've done that every day, 5 days a week since then. Some days, obviously, we have more than that, depending on what's going on and what we've got in the queue. But it's been. I don't know what the calculation is on that over the course of 15 years, but it's a lot of content.
Rich, as you look back at the industry over that 15-year span, what are some of the takeaway points that you remember, and where do you see the industry sitting right at the moment?
Yeah, it's funny. When I started this, we talked a lot about my goal was, I thought the hobby at that point, the industry, whatever you want to call it, was big enough to support, something that covered it on a daily basis, because we had these major auctions and things going on, and in the card companies, obviously we had multiple card companies at that point, a little different landscape than today, but a lot the same too. So I think, in that time, I don't know that it changed all that much, but what we've seen just in the last year and a half has been unlike something I've ever seen. And obviously I've been a collector since, I was a kid and never really stopped that much. So I remember the days of the late 80s, early 90s, the junk wax era and all that, and the hubbub that came with it, and a lot of the same stuff that went on then, in terms of media coverage and interest in, high dollar cars and things like that. It's much the same, but it's almost increased tenfold because of the number of ways that people can communicate now. You got social media, you've got these guys with huge YouTube followings, Instagram followings, and you have the media itself, which does, not just, it used to be back then, you'd have, the daily newspaper, and they kind of had an online presence, and you had radio and television. Well, now those media outlets all have their own social media channels, and they all have, the reporters are posting multiple times a day. So it's coming at us from every different angle you can imagine, multiple times a day. So it's just, there's so much attention now on the hobby that it's unlike anything I've ever seen. Where's the needle? Is it closer to growth, or is it closer to bubble? That's the $10,000 question. I don't know. I know we've seen a big pullback in prices. We don't track that kind of stuff, but I think, I know people that do and read what they say and hear what they say, and I understand from a dealer's perspective, what they're saying about prices pulling back. Well, that, I think that was a natural to happen. I don't think we could keep up that pace. Oh, no. You price everybody out of the market. I mean, there's just no way. When you have, relatively common things, selling for so much, it's inevitable that it was going to pull back a little bit. But I think, even if a lot of the people that have come into this in the next, in the last couple of years pull away, I still think there's going to be a lot of people left over who have been around for a long time, or who haven't been around for a long time, who are going to stick around. So I think, it's inevitable that it's going to be a little bit bigger one way or the other. But the thing to keep in mind is that we've seen so much new money coming in, not just into the card market, but into the hobby itself. The hobby businesses themselves are getting injections of cash like we've never seen before, and from pretty smart people, people that have their financial, Wall Street hedge funds, all kinds of different investors, famous athletes, and guys that just know what to do with their money, who don't make a habit of investing in companies that they don't believe in. So I think, that's the thing that's different, is that if it is the bubble or if it's coming to a head, there's going to be a lot of people losing a lot of money, not just in cards, but in everything else. So it's hard for me to believe that. I don't know how it's all going to shake out. I don't think anybody really does. But I think it will be bigger in the long run than it was 3-4 years ago. It's just kind of a cultural change. And a lot of people said, along the way, long before any of this happened, was, why isn't the hobby bigger? And a lot of people would say, well, it's kind of a sleeping giant. It's not the same from a collectible standpoint. You hear a lot about art. You hear a lot about, music memorabilia and coins, for years had just a huge amount of attention. Sports, when you think about it, everybody somewhere, well, I say everybody, but, most people in one way or another are connected with sports, even if they're just fans. I mean, it's a massive audience. And if you can turn even a small fraction of that into collectors, that's a big deal. And I think, maybe sports collectibles have kind of come of age a little bit and maybe found where their rightful place should have been years ago. It just took the right set of circumstances to make this sort of on par or bigger than the traditional types of collectibles that we've seen over the years, art and coins and whatever,
No, I think that I agree with you, Rich, and great question, Lou. The industry right now, who knows the exact rate? And even if you track prices of cards, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people in the space as collectors, as investors, as hybrids. And Rich, undoubtedly, unless it's all a sham, and I don't believe that, there's absolutely, A, a lot more people than there was 5 years ago. B, there's an infinite amount more people than there was when you and I first started chatting and you left your job 15 years ago or whatever the number was. To start Sports Collectors Daily full time, and then C, even though I don't know if we can log this, we're definitely going to set a record this year. I was talking about this with the folks in the city earlier today, for the amount of people that go to the National for the first time ever this year. I believe we're going to set that record. No way to verify that, of course, Rich. It's just my feeling, and so I think we're saying the same things, and so I think those are all really good metrics or points to consider when you're thinking like, hey, Lou, is the industry growing? Is it a bubble? Is it both? What's going on?
Well, it was 30 years ago when we had the famous Anaheim National in '91, and you had a lot of new people coming in then too. But I agree. I don't think there's any doubt that what's transpired, you can just tell from some of the regional shows, the smaller shows that are ramping up and starting anew. Some of these places that haven't had a show before all of a sudden have them. And you can tell by the number of people that are going to those things that, it's inevitable that they're going to come to the National too. So I don't think there's any doubt that, it could be the hobby's Woodstock, I think, in a week or so. We'll see what happens. But attendance is one thing, I guess, but it's also a situation where, it's going to be something that the people who have never been are going to see it for the first time. And they're going to be, you get that deer in the headlights look sometimes, I think, when people come in for the first time and they see how big it is and they understand that it's a massive deal. You have this basically a jumbo jet hangar full of sports stuff. It's
unbelievable.
If you've never been there and you walk in for that first time and you understand how big it is, those types of people usually come back. They don't make it a one-shot deal. They say, I got to come back, and next time I'm going to book a couple of days and see it all or a try. But I'm interested to see too, what our prices like. Have they come down? Have they dropped? I think we'll see a ton of business done on the show floor. But I also, I wonder a little bit about security too. And as I'm going off on a couple different tangents here, but as we start to talk about the National, we've never seen this type of crowd that we're anticipating anyway before. So if I'm a dealer, I would be very careful, very cautious about, how I move, where I go, who's watching my table, and because I think some of these tables are going to be flooded with customers 4, 5, 6 deep, and it's going to be a challenge for the mom and pop guys who aren't used to that type of crowd. I'd be very concerned and very cautious and make sure that you've got multiple people at your table to help you, so you don't get stuff stolen. Not to say that everybody coming into the National has bad intentions. The vast majority of people do not. But when you have an audience, a crowd this size coming in, I think that's a concern, and probably one that we haven't had probably since that 91 National.
We had Rich on the show last week, and he talked specifically about security about that. And it got me wondering, Rich, how much value do you think, I mean, no one has the answer to this. How much value do you think there is on the floor? How many
That'd be fun. We need to come up with some kind of QR code or something that we can take around all the tables and figure out how much. It's I wouldn't even begin to venture a guess. And that's another thing we talk about. Some of the high dollar cards, a lot of the dealers save their high dollar cards to come to this show or memorabilia. The last thing you want to do is to go to that show and see some great stuff, walk away because it wasn't protected. But the value that's happened since the last. And I know we've had card shows in Dallas and other places that have attracted big crowds. And there was an incident in Dallas last week where you had someone that was arrested. And that's a situation that, is bound to happen again. And it's happened at other shows in the past too. But, it's going to be tough, for people that aren't thinking of that necessarily. When you have that much stuff at the National, that much valuable stuff, whatever it is, all it takes is one person just looking the other way for 1 second and something walks off.
Yep. So I wanted to, are those your guys, Lou? Rich Barkin?
Yeah. I knew that my wife was coming home from work. And of course that's like a cause for a national celebration in Dogland. So they're absolutely out of their minds.
Well, hello, Mrs. Miller. We're happy that you're home.
And I have my door closed, by the way, in where my office is, and she's on the other side. But
it's all good.
It's still they have to express their excitement.
I understand. So do I usually. So 3 days. 3 points that I wanted to make in regards to security and some things that I'm doing. One, I'm bringing the most people I've ever brought to the National in terms of a business owner, meaning owning Just Collect and owning Vintage Breaks. We're bringing the biggest staff of people. So that way, listen, in terms of security, obviously, nothing's perfect. So that's one. 2, we're not bringing any ungraded cards, Rich, which is, believe it or not, for the first time in the history of Just Collect setting up at the National, it will be the first time ever I've not done that. And twofold. 1, it's just a lot easier. And then 2, I just don't want to, out of the corner of our eye, we're watching something for $23. And you're like, oh, wow, some guy just took a $25,000 card because I was watching a $23 ungraded sale. It doesn't make any sense. So, and then 3, we got a big safe. In fact, the biggest safe the National that offered, we literally yep, we'll get the big one. So we got the biggest safe that they offered, and obviously we're not going to have items in the safe in the middle of the show unless we bought them and we don't want them, out for sale. But the point is, we're doing everything we can within reason to protect ourselves, and we encourage, just like you're trying to do, folks, for other folks, Rich, are encouraging people, hey, I don't want to pay for a safe, right? I don't want to do that, but I'm trying to be smart and also have peace of mind, and help, everyone at my company, be able to not have to have their head on a swivel to watch everything. But, listen, we'll all do the best that we can in regards to that. I did want to ask you, Rich, because I wanted to ask you for a few minutes. We kind of got off tangent. Do you have any idea, through the history of Sports Selectors Daily, approximately how big is your pool of writers, even if they've only written one article for you? So of the 16,000, it's definitely north of 10. Is it north of 100? That's kind of, I'm curious about that.
The number of writers or the number of articles that I've written?
Writers. No, the number of different writers that it took to get to 16,000.
Well, we've had different people kind of contribute at different times, but the core that I've got right now that contribute to the site is probably I think 5 or 6. But we have others that have contributed for a while in the past, and then they just kind of don't have time to do it anymore. They're not, I don't pay that well, so they don't hang. They're not full-time jobs, so it's just kind of it's a labor of love for them too.
Well, speaking of that, Rich, are you and I allowed to talk about the new thing that we potentially could be doing, or should we wait a little bit for that?
I think you can let it out of the bag. Yeah.
Great. Do you like the name? Did you like the name?
I did. Yeah.
Great. So my buddy Monty helped me come up with the name. So Rich and I have now reached a deal, and as Rich said, he's not lying. He doesn't pay much, but I'm not doing it.
You even less.
Yeah, I figured. Well, you're punishing me for being late to that meeting. We'll talk about it at the National. So anyway, I'm really excited to announce that Rich and I have reached a deal where we're going to produce a bi-weekly column. So every other week, twice a month for Sports Collectors Daily. We're going to write a column called The Sealed Report, obviously having to do with wax, but it's going to touch upon a few different aspects of wax, as you saw in the first write-up that I sent you, Rich, in regards to maybe talking about what's going on in breaking, what's going on in the auction world, and then kind of like a did you know section, anything interesting along the lines of an open Lou. So I think that both the readers of Sports Collectors Daily, but then also like the followers of the Vintage Breaks and the Just Collect community, I really think that they're going to enjoy it, Rich.
Yeah, it's such a great part of the market. Even if you can't afford the high dollar packs, it's still fun to see them opened and to hear, what some of them sell for, and hear the stories of what comes out when they have a great pack break like the 55 Bowman Cello at the National. It was the hit of the show a few years ago. That was phenomenal when the Mickey Mantle came out of that, and the follow-up stories that what it graded and everything else that came out of that pack. But yeah. Well, a little tease on that first one. You're talking vintage football. Kind of analyzing
Excellent.
that
I like
market a little bit. And why,
well, I know
it's even though it's very expensive, why it's not really such a bad deal.
Exactly. No, it was a great tease, and of course, you're showing your media prowess with that. So I'm looking at the clock here, and I don't know if you caught like my last email I sent in regards to that other thing I mentioned. I didn't know if you had seen that. If we could discuss that.
That, and the other thing. I don't think I.
Did you check your? Okay, so then we'll talk about it afterwards.
Well,
you can pull up your email right now.
Oh no, I.
Because you would remember.
Oh yes, the giveaway. Is that what you're talking about? Yes. Oh yes. Yeah, we can't forget that. Yeah, I did post to our Facebook page. Yeah.
Oh great. Do you like the idea of doing it live from the National?
Sure. We can do that. Hopefully, we're getting some entries.
Great.
We should tell people though, if they missed it. Yeah, it's if you go to the Sports Collectors Daily Facebook page, and you guys have been nice enough to give away a $500 credit for breaks to one of our Facebook groupies, as I like to say.
Nice.
So they're that's great. And they can. Are you making this available for anything? I mean, can this be any pack break?
So they can buy not only any pack break. So do you realize I specifically chose $500, Rich, because if Lou is able to bring this up, we have a break on our site for $475 per spot. It's a 250 card graded hit random that contains every single card is graded, but it contains a 1951 Bowman Mickey Mantle rookie PSA 4.5.
Nice.
It contains a 52 Topps Mickey Mantle PSA 1, a Wilt Chamberlain rookie, a Koufax rookie, a Ty Cobb T206. So I thought it would be awesome to give someone in your community a chance to win. Granted, they don't have to spend it on that, but if they want, they'll have enough with $500 to spend the $475 on that. And if not, of course, buy whatever they like. And then as an added caveat, and of course, we'll plug this next week when we give it away live from the show. Rich, whoever wins, if they spend that money before next Sunday, August 1st at 4 p.m., we're giving away over $25,000 of prizes in our big national event that ends at 4 o'clock on that Sunday, August 1st. So if they win that money, they'll not only get $500 of free breaks, but they'll also get their $500 will still count into the bonuses for the big national event if they spend it before Sunday, August 1st at 4 o'clock.
You're giving away the farm.
Well, I figured, the joke was through the email. I was late for that meeting years ago. And if there was any doubt now, we're officially even, and I feel very good about that.
Yeah, this was a breakfast meeting that Leighton stood up, myself and someone else in the industry, and showed up very fashionably late. So everything had already been discussed, and we had our pancakes. And
my wife didn't tell me. My wife didn't tell me you're supposed to go to the breakfast meetings on time. Also, I thought that you're allowed to be fashionably late for all of them.
It will live on in infamy.
I just talked to Ryan the other day.
It just So this is pretty cool. So again, if you go to our Facebook page, and what you asked people to do, and I thought that was good, to enter, they just have to leave a comment, and they can talk about whatever their most favorite pack break was when they opened a pack, whether it's when they were a kid or when they opened as an adult and they found something great. Just leave that. That's all you have to do, and then you'll be entered to win the $500 credit, and then we'll announce it at the National. All right?
Well, listen, Rich, yes, absolutely. We're going to announce it next week live from the national floor. We'll pick, the date and time and communicate that, of course, to everyone. Guys, I implore you, I not only had Rich on as a guest, I had Rich on as a friend. His site's great. I check it every day. I wish our banner was in a little bit different spot. We'll talk about that offline.
It's a big, giant banner on the right-hand side.
I want to have – no, I'm just kidding. So all kidding aside, guys, it's the place to get your hobby news, really of any kind, size, or variety. And so really looking forward to seeing you next week, Rich. It's going to be a great national.
Yes, I think so too. And it's been great to see you guys. I'm glad I know what you look like after a couple of years again, because I completely forgot. We haven't been able to get out and around, but good to catch up with you. And thanks for having me on. Appreciate all the nice plugs. And my lighting here is not the best. I need a professional to come in here and do some better lighting when I do these things. But looks like I'm talking from the basement somewhere, but or the crawl spaces, which we have here.
Just before you go, Rich here, one of our listeners, wants to know what you collect. He says he appreciates everything Sports Collector Daily does, but wants to know if you're collecting anything.
Well, that's very nice. I do. I'm kind of a traditional vintage guy. Have a lot of sets, older sets that I've been putting together over the years, and also have a lot of my closet over here is full of World Series programs, and I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, so I have all the Packers yearbooks back to 1960 and all the big playoff programs dating back years and things like that. Just kind of sort of what I like to. Just occasionally I'll just buy something because I think it's great. Maybe I'm not going to work on the set, but I'll buy a card because I think it's sort of underrated or sort of iconic. But yeah, I'm traditionally mostly a vintage fan of vintage cards. Just back in the day, that's when you finished your regular top set, or if it was later on you're collecting Fleer Down or Upper Deck, whatever. When you were done with that, there kind of wasn't much else to collect. So that's what you did, is you went back and got, maybe you wanted to start a set from the year of your birth, or you wanted to you liked another set from that year, and that's what you did. Now, of course, you've got a new set or a new product coming out multiple times a week, and you can pick your player or do whatever. But that's kind of in that area. That's what we did. I mean, it was like a manna from heaven when they came out with the Hostess sets in the 1970s, because it was like, you go to the store, oh my gosh, they got baseball cards in the back of Twinkies, and so we all put on like
more reason to eat Twinkies.
Yeah, or Kellogg's. Yeah, that was the best thing. Open up a box of Kellogg's Frosted Flakes and open it up, and out came a 3D baseball card, and then you sent the box tops in, $2 and 2 box tops, and you got the complete set back by mail. But that was it. I mean, there wasn't a lot of other stuff out there to collect in terms of baseball cards. So that's just kind of how I started doing it, was going back and filling in, year by year, going back to whatever you could afford. That was for me. It's never going to be the 52 Tops or 51 Bowman set, but some of the others I was able to chase down. Somebody just said, yeah, I wish they do cards on the back of the boxes these days. It was the regional and food sets are great. That's a topic for another day, I guess. But I love those old regional quirky sets that you buy a product in the store and it had cards inside, whether it's Tombstone Pizza or whatever. I mean, it's they don't do much of that anymore, and it's I think it's kind of the worse for wear. A lot of people enter the hobby that way. I mean, as a kid, if mom brings home something or dad brings home something from the store, it's got cards on the back. That was the entry point for a lot of people back in the day. Yeah. And they don't do that too much anymore. I guess maybe the expenses to do it are too high, but I think they did it for pizza a couple of years ago with Walmart pizza had cards in it, and you had to eat a lot of pizza to complete the set. But at least with Kellogg's, you could send away for a couple of bucks and you'd get the whole set except for 1971.
Yeah, 71s are tough.
Yep.
Yeah, they didn't have the set offer on the backs of the boxes, so you had to get them all through the serial. At some point, they must have come out, because they're obviously, they're challenging, but you can still complete it.
Yeah.
Rich, thanks so much.
Hey, glad to do it, guys, and we'll see you in Chicago.
Thanks,
Right.
Rich. Looking forward to it.
Excellent. So let me see.
I tell you what.
Let me see if I have it. Is this the vintage card, the 250 card vintage break, random break that you wanted to talk about? All right. Let's see if I can get that.
Yeah, the one you just click on that. Exactly.
So
that's the one where I wanted to give someone from Rich's community a chance to buy into that break if they so desired. And so with a $500 break credit, you'd have a chance at, as Rich was saying, a lot of folks will never be able to own a 52 tops mantle or a 51 Bowman mantle. So I thought by giving away a break credit that could cover that, someone would be very excited if they wanted to, even just learn about it. And even if they don't buy a spot in it, just thought it'd be pretty cool.
Absolutely. All right. Countdown for the National, right? I'm sure you guys want to get breaking.
So, yeah, we got 1 week. Well, not even really 1 week until the next Loft. It'll be live at the National, but we're leaving on Monday. Actually, some of us are leaving Saturday, Sunday. We have quite the crew going out there. Really excited about it. And just want to say, Lou, for the last few weeks, ever since we've kind of gone to this like free-flowing format of just a bunch of guests, just keep talking nonstop. It's great. I hope you're enjoying it as well. It's a lot of fun.
I'm having a blast, and it's good to talk to these people and people from the community and people like Rich and Ray Schulte, just bringing the news, and it's just fun to talk about the hobby, just bringing them to our community. And I'm constantly amazed how much people love this community. I'm not amazed that they do, but there's nothing else like this going on anywhere, I don't think.
Yep, that's why we're going to keep it going. Really looking forward to hopefully meeting, like I said, as many of you as possible next week at the National. Keep your eyes and ears out for the Just Collect and Vintage Breaks open house coming later this year from our offices at the 459, and lots of other fun, exciting news and announcements over the next 7 or 8 days. So stay tuned.
All right. Have a great prep, and we'll see you at the National next week.
Take it easy, everybody.